Hi everyone, and thank you for joining again. In this video I will show you how you can make this beautiful turtleneck here. Again, I try to keep the tutorial as easy as possible, and as you can see here we will work with berry stitches. I will use a 4mm hook and I will make my turtleneck with Schachenmeier Catania yarn, but as usual you will find everything you need linked in the video description. So we start with our slip knot and chain. And our chain will give us the length of our turtleneck. So just place one end of the chain on your shoulder and see how far down it reaches and if this is fine for you. Keep in mind that you might add a lower ribbing here. When the length is fine, we start in the third chain from the hook and go back all the way with half double crochet. At the end of the row, you chain 2, turn around, and from now on we always work in the back loop only. So this is where we poke in and make our half double crochet. Every now and then we will make berry rows, and if you want to make such a row you just chain 1, then I start with 2 single crochet, again in the back loop only, and now for the berry you do the following: you yarn over, pull through, back loop only. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the first, yarn over, draw another loop. Now you have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all of them. Then again 2 single crochet, this is our first berry, and then another berry, yarn over, draw a loop, yarn over, through the first loop, yarn over, draw a loop, yarn over and pull through all of them. Then then again 2 single crochet, at the end of the row. This is my last berry here. My row ends on 2 single crochet as well, like it started, but you can just vary here and reduce that to 1 single crochet or increase to 3 single crochet. It is important that you don't end on a berry stitch. And this is your berry row. Then you chain 2 again, turn around and go on with half double crochet, back loop only. And if you would like to make the same berry rows like I did here, I will write the exact row numbers in the video description. Now you just go on working in rows until your pullover or turtleneck looks like this. And then you try it on, place it like this on you, and it should reach at least to your middle here at your widest point, which is most likely your chest. So it should reach at least to your middle. If you're not sure if you're far enough, then just add 1 or 2 rows to be sure here. I think you can see well what I mean here. Then you of course repeat that twice, so that you have 2 of these panels here. And then placing them right side on right side. We will slip stitch the sides together and sew together the shoulders. So I started with the shoulders, so that I can wear it like that. And then I just see where my armhole should start. I just hold the sides together and then see if this is wide enough so that I can move in the end. And then I just mark this stitch here. Now placing the 2 sides on each other, you should first of all take the measure, because you have to repeat the very same on the other side as well. So either take the measure or count the stitches where your marker is in. And then, as I said, we will slip stitch the 2 sides together. So make sure that you have the very first stitch of both panels. Like this. These are the first stitches on front and back side. Now I attach the thread here again, which means I pull it through, leave a long tail so that I can weave it in, and now chain 1, and now you always poke in the neighboring stitches on both sides. This is how it should look like. And then you make a slip stitch, which means you pull the thread through everything that is on your hook. Then poke in again in the next stitch and the neighboring one. This is how it looks like. And slip stitch. And in this way, you just go on until you reach the stitch marker. When you're there, we start our sleeve by chaining. So just go on with chains here. And to determine how long my chain has to be, I quickly take the measure of my arm, which is this long, but we will make a ribbing as well. So I want my sleeve to stop somewhere here. So I deduct this value from the total value, which means I have to chain until I reach 39 centimeters. Again, try on if this is fine, keeping in mind that I will have a ribbing here. My chain should be long enough. Then I don't want to lose anything from my length, so I add two chains here. And again start in the third chain from the hook with half double crochet. When we reach the main part, we want to attach the sleeve in one go. I have one stitch left here. And the last stitch will be done like this. Yarn over, poke in, and draw a loop. Now the closing loop. For the closing loop, you will now poke in through the main part. And then pull it through the loops on your hook. This is how it should look like. Then to start the next row, we will make 2 slip stitches through the next 2 loops. This is the first one. This is the second one. 2 slip stitches. Now bring the thread to the front, turn around, and just go on with half double crochet in the back loop only. This very first half double crochet here is super easy to oversee in the next row, so I definitely recommend to use a stitch marker here if you want to make sure that you don't drop stitches. And this is how it looks like. I will later on add another clip with another light and background setting where you can see this technique again. Now in the berry rows, you again start with one chain, and then again I start with 2 single crochet and then make my berry stitch. And the berry rows are always done when you work towards the main part of the turtleneck, because we still work with the left side out and the berries should be on the right side. So always when you work to the main part, you can place your berry rows. And again, I will write the exact berry rows that I made in the video description. Now, since I have a different stitch count on my sleeve than on the main part, I end with just 1 single crochet here, and again the closing loop will be pulled through the main part like this. Always make sure that you don't stretch or squeeze the main part when you do that. And what I'm doing here is wrong, because we have to make 2 slip stitches, of course. Slip stitch number 1 and slip stitch number 2. Then turn around and go on with half double crochet. So, as I said, I will show you the technique with a different lighting and background setup. So this is a half double crochet row, and now the closing stitch, the closing loop, without stretching or squeezing the main part, will be pulled through the loop that comes naturally next to the half double crochet, without stretching or squeezing it. Then you make slip stitch number 1, slip stitch number 2, and turn around to go on with your half double crochet rows. And as I said, this very first one here is super easy to oversee in the next row, so I recommend to use a stitch marker. Now when the sleeve is finished, we again slip stitch them together. We already slip stitched the main parts together, so I decided to show it from a different perspective this time. It's the very same like I did, or like we did for the main parts. Just poke in the neighboring stitches and make your slip stitches. Now for the ribbing of the sleeve, I decided to make it in a separate piece. I started with 11 chains, then worked 10 single crochet back loop only for 32 rows and slip stitched the ends together, or the sides together in the end. This is how my ribbing looks. And I left a long tail to sew it to the main part. Now with the right side up, as you can see here, my sleeve has the right side up, you can see the berries, and the left side up for the ribbing. You just pull the sleeve in the ribbing and then sort it a little so that it has a nice shape. Like this somehow. Then you take your darning needle and sew the pieces together. When you're finished, this is how it should look like. And your sleeve is done. Then of course you repeat the very same on the other side. Now for the turtleneck, I roughly take the measure from the edge of my pullover to where I want my turtleneck to end. It's round about 10 centimeter, and since it should fold over, we double this value. Now with the right side up again, I will start in the middle of the back side at my neck and attach the thread here, and then we chain until we reach 20 centimeters. In the meantime, my cat joined in, and as you can see here, I have the 20 centimeters And then I just start in the second chain from the hook and go back all the way with single crochet. Now we want to directly attach the neck to the main part as well, which means we again just poke in the main part for our closing loop. You can see that the loops look different here, but you just poke in the loop that you can easily reach, and then slip stitch in the next. So there's no exact rule where you have to poke in or whatever, but just make sure that you don't stretch or don't squeeze your main part. Just poke in the loop that comes naturally next to your hook. And from the next row on, we again work only in the back loop. Now when you work on your turtleneck, you will reach this area here where you have this little V, and here you just gently pull the two pieces in one line. Again, don't stretch too much or don't squeeze them, just very gently bring them in one line, and then keep on working and using the loops here. Now in the end, when your neck is finished, you just slip stitch the sides together, and then you can decide if you make a lower ribbing as well. I already showed you two different techniques. You can decide which one you want to use for the lower ribbing. And if you liked the tutorial, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.